Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yetunde aka YBA, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to deal with in-laws in your marriage, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's get into it. We're finally coming to the end of the three-part in-laws series. This is where we talk about how to deal with your in-laws, day to day dealing with them. This is where we're also going to talk about, honestly, if you have a bad in-law, just apply all the tips I'm going to give, because some people do have really, really terrible relationships with their in-laws. And when I say terrible, I don't mean it like it's anyone's fault. Some relationships just don't work. There's nothing you can do. How do you deal with all of this stuff, all the intrusion? And at times, how do you even deal with your partner? Because at times it's not your in-laws, it's your partner. I always say it, your partner has a huge part to play. So how do you deal with all of the in-law issues that you have in your relationship? So many people find it very uncomfortable to talk to their partners about some of the things they might be going through with their in-laws. Some people, it's a blind spot for them. Like, they don't even see that their partner has certain issues with their mom or their dad or their sister or their brother. And if you have a partner who just keeps quiet, who doesn't say anything, you might just not know. Not knowing is not a good thing, by the way, because when you don't know, a lot can happen. And by the time it blows up, and it will blow up, it will. Forget it. If they keep quiet and keep quiet, one day, it's gonna blow up. And when the blow up happens, it's gonna blow back on you. And now you're like, wait, what? When did all of this stuff happen? When did daddy talk to you like that? When did you and Momsy have this issue? Well, the thing is, you weren't paying attention. So the first tip is something that is very important in any relationship. Now, for in-laws, oh God, you need boundaries. Like, boundaries. Boundaries. I don't know how else to emphasize it. Just don't need boundaries. You need to set the boundaries. And you're not just going to set them, you also enforce the boundaries. Honestly, most of the time, they mean well. That is the honest truth. And like I said, most of the time, not all the times. There are times they don't mean well. That's the truth. But they do mean well. They love you. And when you love someone, what do? You want to be around them. When you love someone, you want to be in their business. Yes, we all do it. I do it. When I love someone, if you're my friend, I'm all up in your business. I'm asking you, oh, so when are you going to do this? Oh, so when are you going to do that? It's natural. You actually don't need them minding your business. Like I said in my last video, separation has to happen. And that is why you need boundaries. Because while at first it might not show up in your relationship that, someone who doesn't have boundaries is really affecting things, it will show up. One day it will show up. Someday it might start when you have kids. You might start maybe, in fact, it might not start until maybe the second kid. Then you start realizing that I have issues with this. But why didn't I say something all this while? So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Talk about boundaries, discuss it, set it, and implement those boundaries, because you need boundaries with your in-laws, good or bad. Boundaries latua. She'll get. Let's move on. And number 2 tip is communication. And see, this communication is both ways. You need to communicate with your partner and also with your in-laws. You have to, especially when there's conflict. When things are going good, like we're all in a good place, we love each other. If you don't forget to tell me something, I might not be upset. But you see, when there's conflict and you're not communicating, like everybody does not know where you stand about stuff, I'm sorry, you're going to have plenty of problems. You see that third thing of somebody did something to you, because I'm just going to let it go, I won't say anything. No, say something. Say something, because at times, honestly, the thing that happened might not just even be about you. Now, the thing about communication is you also have to do it wisely, because there are times where your in-laws will do certain things to you, and honestly, you have to, I don't know, look away. Yoruba will say you have to laboju kuro. Like, it's not everything. I say you should communicate, but it's not everything. They didn't call me on my birthday. you communicate it. And they did not do this one, everything is an issue. No. Communication does not mean you make everything into a big deal. That also is a recipe for disaster. So when I say you should communicate, I mean you guys have to, like, always have like a degree of understanding, they know you're not coming. Not that you don't tell them you're not coming and then they just don't see you. Oh, mommy, I can't make the party because I have this training at work. You communicated. That does not mean that everything, mommy, mommy looked at me one kind, I must tell her. You tell her today, tell her tomorrow. Kilo, do you want her to close her eyes when you're around? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you communicate, but you do it with wisdom. But especially when there's conflict, you have to communicate, which takes me to my next tip. Now, you see, this next tip is something I recommend for every couple. When it's time to do dirty work, send your partner to do the dirty work. Yes, let your partner do the dirty work. See, let me tell you, you're going to do dirty work. How do I say it now? There are going to be times where you are going to have, like, you're not going to agree with your in-laws. Say, for instance, there's a decision to be made about something. Let me see, maybe like you guys want to go on vacation together and you don't want to go to where they want to go to. And so you need to tell them. You know who you send to them? Their child. Yeah. Send their child to them. Don't be the one to go and tell your mother-in-law, hey, mommy, I'm sorry, we can't come for your this thing in your church. No. Let their daughter tell them, because you know what? Even if they do get mad or they get upset about certain things, it's their child. They can tell their child that, I know it's your husband that does not want you to come. But guess what will happen? You don't have to hear it. And that minimizes conflicts instantly. So anytime there's going to be anything that is coming up and you know that it's an uncomfortable conversation to have with your in-laws, whether it's your brother-in-law, whether it's your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law or your actual mother or father-in-law, yes, send their child to them. Let your partner do the dirty work and vice versa. So when there's something on your side as well, you have to also do the dirty work. This is because you're supposed to protect your partner. And since you have this group of people who are biologically programmed to love you, they can't unlove you. They can decide all of a sudden not to love your partner because he's said something to them they don't like, but they can't do that to you. So what do? You need to be the one to take the news to them. If you don't want someone to come to your house, for instance, send their child to them. Whether it's both of you that don't want it, whether it's only you, both of you have agreed that we don't want visitors this period. If, for instance, you have a sibling that wants to come and live with you and it's not convenient for you guys, maybe because of cost or for whatever reason, yes, let the family member that the sibling is coming from, their side of the family, be the one to break the news. You have to be diplomatic. Things are not done that way. You have to send in someone that they are programmed to love no matter what. You send that person to them. Always maintain a united front. It's not just for in-laws. When you're married, one of the ways that you can go through your life together and problem-free is by always being on the same page. Now, maintaining a united front or being on the same page does not necessarily mean that both of you have even agreed. Let's say, for instance, we're trying to decide on, let's say, these two phones, and we haven't decided, and we're still thinking about it, we're thinking about it. This is what your united front means. If anybody asks, we'll tell them this. That is a united front. If anyone asks, you have agreed what you're going to tell them. You're not telling them A, and your partner is telling them B. You're not at a family gathering. They're asking your husband, oh, so what's up about this issue? And he's like, this is what we're doing. And you two, you're like, no, babe, when did we agree that? No, that's not what we're doing. Do you know what you guys are doing? You're letting the world know. And in this case, your in-laws know that things are not so great. If you have a mischievous family member who thrives where there's discord, that is their opportunity to jump into your marriage and come and cause problems. So always maintain a united front, even if you don't like it. Let's say something comes on, like it just comes up like without, you didn't know, a question, and you guys are at a gathering and your partner says something, just go with it. That's my advice. Swallow it. That thing that wants to jump out of your chest, swallow it and go with it. See, once you enter the car to drive away from that place, you can jump on them. You guys can work it out after. But you see, in the moment when you have in-laws around, or family around, or friends around, and this, like I said, this particular thing, you have to use it for all of your relationships. You need to agree. It doesn't look good. I don't know how to emphasize this. It's very important. And like I said, if you're in a situation and your partner blindsides you, your job is to go with it. Just go with it, just for that moment, And then once you guys are done and you're out of that situation and you're alone, then you can bring it up and be like, what happened? Why would you say that? We never agreed on that. The same person that told them A can go back and say, oh, we've changed our mind. Well, what has happened is the first time you guys agreed on A in public, it was an agreement. And when he goes back to tell them, oh, we no longer agree to A, we're now doing B, it's also in agreement. So please always maintain a united front. It's going to save you a lot of headache. It's going to save you a lot of trouble. And frankly, it's just not going to allow mischievous and naughty people into your lives. You don't need all of those people. Like, you don't even need someone whispering in your ear, why would we do that? Oh, really? So that's how it talks to you. You don't need that, okay? Just be united. Maintain a united front. It's called protecting yourself and protecting your partner, and that's your job. So just do it. So my next tip is to be yourself. I think I have said something of this nature in my first and second video, but look, I personally believe that being yourself, being who you are, is what everybody should do in any relationship. And it's because if you are a what you see is what you get person, they already know. There's no whispering. There's no, and she pretended to like me. Now that she has married our brother, she's now like this. Oh, he used to be nice to us. As we have given him wife, now he has carried wife to Lagos. He doesn't greet us anymore. There's a proverb in Yoruba that says, "Nǹkan téèyàn ò bá ní gbà ní olówó, kéèyàn má gbà ní tálíkà." It just literally means, what you will not take when you're a big man, don't take it because when you don't have money now, like when you're in poverty. It just means that what you will not take in your marriage, don't take it for a period. Say, let me just be nice to them now until we marry. Then once we now marry, or maybe the first few years of the marriage, you just take it. And then after you feel like, Moti, the senior boy, should we have married her for like 10 years now? Yes, now, nope, I'm changing the rules. People want to come, you have to call bingo at the gates. No, why are you doing that? Why? Just be yourself. Be who you are. And yes, people do change. We're going to leave room for that. But generally be consistent, okay? You're not going to have a good relationship if you are that kind of person. And the goal here is to try to have at least as cordial a relationship as possible. That's what I aim for. That's what I think everyone should aim for. Loving yourselves will come after some time. Liking yourself, really, really liking yourself, is something that will develop. Those feelings develop over time. But at least you should be able to be cordial and civil to each other. And how can someone want to be civil or be cordial with you when today you are A, tomorrow you're B? If you don't like something, you understand, say it. If you can't tell them directly, tell your partner to tell them. Okay? And I know a lot of men do this. They keep quiet. They say, I'm staying out of all these issues. It's women. No! Don't stay out of it. If there's something, it might seem little, but little things, it becomes big things. Next thing you know, you hear crazy stories. People that beat up their in-laws, or some in-laws, they gang up and they go and beat up somebody's wife. This happened. I keep saying wife because a lot of things happens to women a lot. But I've also heard from men. You hear someone, they arrested their son-in-law. They did this, they did that. Some people deserve to be arrested, by the way. Like all those people that are into assaults of any kind. you need to go to jail for it. Yes, I support that one. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Small thing. Oh, my daughter reported you, and because you're a big man and commissioner of police, you have gone to carry your son-in-law. Everywhere is a mess. Why? Because you guys can't manage yourselves. And I'm going to keep coming back to the partner. If your family and your partner don't get along, I think it's your fault. And when I use get along loosely. They don't have to like them, be in love and love themselves, but they should be able to be cordial. And that's your job. You need to fix that, that place and make sure that everybody at least just respects themselves. There's no anybody shouting at each other. There's no two fighting. There's no, anything can happen to anyone any day. And if someone dies and you leave that kind of mess behind, it's going to be messier even when you're not there. And you just set your partner up for no rubbish, just in case something happens to you. So please, please, please make sure you show the real you to your in-laws, to everybody. Let everybody know you. Always side with your partner. Now, this one is tough, because there are times when your partner is going to be wrong. You get, but honestly, you have to side with them, especially if it's your side of the family that does not like the thing that has just happened. You won't go to your parents and say, Mommy, did I not tell you he's a stupid man? That's how he used to behave. Even me, how do you think he talks to me? See, the thing about in-laws is this, especially family, like close family, like the parents and their siblings, they love their child. See, if push comes to shove, everybody will side with their own. So if you have a habit of always going around and painting your partner, in a bad light, always doing that, you're just gradually giving them ammunition, because the day something now happens, you've built a case against them. So I do not recommend it that you be against your partner when something happens. Like I said, you always have to maintain a united front. See, when you get to tear blouse for your partner, how dare you talk to my mom like that? But don't let your mom feel the animosity coming off of you, because it's going to encourage bad behavior. That's the bottom line. You're encouraging them. If you talk about your partner anyhow with your in-laws, with their in-laws, those are your own people, you're giving them ammunition to talk to your partner anyhow. Weird thing about relationships is, see, couples are ready to throw bottle and throw hands. No. You can see them in 2 days and they are all loved up. But guess who won't forget the thing that you have, all the bad things you've said? Your people, your mom, your dad, your siblings. You've told all of them how terrible this man is, what a terrible guy this person is, what a terrible woman she is, very dirty woman, very this woman, very that woman. You've said all the bad things, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, she's okay. No, they are counting it for her. Then there's something, one small thing happens, something that they could overlook, because they already have resentment in their mind, it's going to blow up, and then everything becomes a big issue. So please always support your partner, especially when you're dealing with in-laws. This is my favorite. You have to have a sense of humor. Yes, always maintain, like, you have to have a good sense of humor when it comes to in-laws. Or now in a family where they really, really tease themselves a lot, and you're not used to that. So it makes you angry and you get upset about it. See, you need to get a sense of humor, because honestly, you can't get upset over everything. That's the truth. Some people also say things to you. They use humor. It's called veiled humor. They use humor to cover up when they want to do things or say things to you. Yes, let's say the truth. You have in-laws, I have in-laws, we all have, even yourself, you are going to be somebody's in-law. So we know how we do as Africans especially. There are undertones to some of the things we do. This is what I recommend. If someone uses humor to, throw something at you, use humor to throw it back at them. Yeah, to can play that game. Like I said, it's not everything. People who use humor to do stuff like that, they're manipulative. And if you don't maintain your sense of humor, what will happen is you'll be labeled a bad person, a difficult person. I was just playing with how. They know what they're doing. They said that thing to needle you on purpose. Let's be clear on something. You can't make an issue out of everything. It's not everything that someone does for you you carry on your head, like Pepe, and start selling it. No, just laugh some things off. There will be time to be quiet, and there will be time where you will get to speak up. You need to recognize those different periods, and then you do the needful. My final tip is to stay civil no matter what. I'm talking about people who were never accepted, people who are not liked or loved, people who are stuck in this family, where they're like the outsider and they make them feel like the outsider. You're the one who knows the reason why you're sticking it out with your partner. Now, that being said, my advice is you have to maintain civility. See, the only thing that differentiates us from animals is being civil. See, there's nothing worse for anybody than being in the middle of your wife or husband, a spouse, and your family. It's a terrible place to be in. It's a place you don't want to be in. It's a place you don't want to put your partner in. No matter who they choose, it's not going to end well. They're supposed to choose you as the spouse. Yes, you are supposed to be priority. But you know what? It's going to break their heart to not have chosen their parents or their siblings, because that's their first family. And because of you, even though they know that they are supposed to choose you, they have to turn their back. It is something that is going to give them heartache for the rest of their life. There are times for our own mental health, for our own just to be okay, we do need to cut some family members off. However, I recommend that even while you might need to maintain distance from certain people, you need to maintain civility. Be civil enough to be able to sit in the same room when you meet at functions, because you will meet. And if at the end of the day, all you have between you and these people is just strife and problems upon problems upon problems, I mean, what do your kids fall back on? You don't know how long you're going to be here for. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So strive to maintain civility. I know that there are very extreme cases where we just need to throw hands. I know some people have those scenarios, but I'm a firm believer in, even in such cases, there has to be a way to maintain some level of, just politeness and civility. You don't even have to be friends. Now, to round up this in-law series, I have something to say. Who are bad in-laws? All the bad in-laws that will point our hands at. They are our moms, our dads, our uncles, our aunties. They're your siblings. They're your cousins. Yes, they didn't fall down from the sky. So I believe that we all have a responsibility as people first to educate people around us, about these experiences. Your friends. Yes, when somebody says, oh, my sister-in-law is giving me a problem, that sister-in-law, does she not have friends? You want to tell me out of all her friends, nobody can call her to order? Your friend comes to gist you what they did to their brother's wife or what they did to their sister's husband, and you didn't say anything. You're part of the problem. Let's break the vicious cycle. Let's stop this rubbish. Let's stop. Yes, it's rubbish. If you get a bad mother-in-law, don't become a bad mother-in-law yourself when it's your time. Don't become wicked witch of the West, WWW, because you just had refused to change your ways. If you become an evil person to your daughter-in-law, your son-in-law, they will carry that trauma, that guilt. And that's how generational, a problem starts. So let's do better, people. That's what I'm trying to say. If you like this video, don't forget to like, to subscribe, to hit the notification bell, and of course, share. Let us share the gospel with everyone. We need to do better. So I'll see you next week. Bye for now.